Michaela with Love Horsemanship. Today we're talking about teaching your horse how to do a figure of 8 in your groundwork. I love doing a figure 8 because it's really a great test and way to balance your horse's drive and draw. Now every horse innately has one more than the other, and through this exercise you can help them find equality between the two. It's also a great exercise to help you as the human develop your rope managing skills and develop your feel of moving your horse's body and yours at the same time. So finding harmony as you're moving through space. So you may be able to see here in the ground, in the sand, I've drawn some lines here. This straight line here is to hold me accountable to stay on a straight line as I back up to draw my horse and walk forward to drive my horse. This is really big because I've seen a lot of people do figure 8s with their horses, and they are doing the figure of 8 with their horses, walking the pattern themselves, and that's not what I'm after. I really want to see that you can find some independence, you have your own line and track, and your horse has their own as well. Now, this V on top here, this is my target as I'm redirecting my horse's nose and sending them between me and the cone. If I can get my horse's nose on that line, I know I have a good chance of getting their feet to follow the line and be on the outside of the cone. It's really tempting for horses, especially when they don't know this, or especially if they're comfortable pushing on the human space, for them to want to cut the turn short and side swipe the cone. So that's going to give me a nice target to send my horse's nose to, and this is the target to hold me accountable, that I'm maintaining my line and my horse is the one doing a figure of 8. Figure of 8. Now, as I said, the tool management side of this can be challenging for the human, and one of the most cumbersome things is all this excess rope. So at the very beginning, I'm going to throw the tail of my rope out behind me. Now, I know that may make some people uncomfortable, but I promise you it's better than having a bunch of excess rope and loops that could potentially get wrapped around your hands as you're changing your stick and rope hand. So first thing I'm going to do is send him to the outside of my pattern. As his front feet hit this cone, that's my cue to back and draw. Once I get his nose redirected on the line, that's my target, then I can walk back forward to drive. And I strategically have my cones placed like so, with my back to the fence, so that if the horse is avoiding the change of direction and trying to blow through pressure, that rail is going to help me stop him and get the redirection without having to put so much stress and strain on my shoulders. I'm going to send him to the outside using rhythmic pressure to get his nose and neck around. Once his front feet pass the cone there, I'm going to back up. My lead rope redirects the nose and I walk back forward on the line. Now, as best as I can, I try to prevent the horse from missing a cone because I don't want them to practice what I don't want them to get good at. So even if it causes some ruffled feathers, I'd rather have clarity with my horse right out of the gate and not confuse them on where the boundaries are. Feels quite nice. So as his front feet pass the cone, I back up, redirect the nose, and walk forward. Now, when I change my stick hand, I change the stick under my rope, redirect the nose. If you change your stick over, you're going to end up interrupting the horse and possibly confusing them on if they're really allowed to come into you. And that's something I want my horse to be so sure of, is that as I back, it's an invitation for them to come to me so that I can redirect the nose and send them on the new line. So again, my stick passes under the rope, then I can redirect, under the rope, then I can redirect. Now I'm very pleased with that, so I'm going to gonna end with a draw until he's coming straight to me. Good job. Now I always like to end the pattern with that as their last thought of come to me is where you get the reward. Because if you think every time they go around the cone, you redirect them, eventually they're gonna say, well, why am I coming to you if you're just gonna send me away? So I wanna plant this as his thought whenever he gets his full reward, so that he's coming around the cone thinking, is this the time I get to come in? Is this the time I get to come in? So once your horse has a fundamental idea of how to do the figure of 8, I like to up the ante pretty quickly and see if I can cause my horse to maintain the pattern with less information. There's a time and a place for our horses to be good soldiers and follow orders, but I want my horses to have the ability to seek the answer when less information is offered. For me, this is where real confidence comes from and communication. So I'm gonna send him through on 1 or 2 figures, just like you saw me do before, where I'm following my line. Then I'm gonna fade into neutral and see if my horse can find the pattern on his own. There's a very good chance that this is gonna get messy, but I am going to treat him like the smart animal that he is and trust that he can solve the puzzle. So we'll go to the outside of the pattern to start. Front feet touch the cone, back up to draw, stick passes under my rope, redirect the nose. Now I'm going to start fading to neutral, and whenever he gets stuck, I'm just going to spank the ground where he should not be existing. Wait for him to commit to the mistake. Now I'm just softly going to spank the ground and make that space an undesirable place to reside. Wait till he commits to the mistake. Make that an uncomfortable place to reside. Not a cozy place. So my only job is to believe that he's smart enough to figure this out and manage my rope. So my feet are still. I'm having a clear picture in my mind, and I'm allowing him to commit to the mistake before I apply the pressure. Do you guys see that? Close his way through that turn. I manage my rope. Wait for him. Not a comfy place to reside. Not a comfy place to reside. And you can see there's been a couple times where I've added pressure and it has made contact with his hiney. That's just because he didn't clear the space in time. So if he doesn't leave in time, he might experience some physical pressure touching him, but my goal is not to spank him. Good boy, that was a nice turn. He initiated that on his own. Notice my right hand is not directing, I'm just managing my rope. Yeah, he's got that side 3 times now. Super smart boy. Oh, winner, winner. Super pleased with that, so I'm going to bring him in with a draw. Make sure he stops when my feet stop, and let him soak on that. All right, so he's figuring this out with minimal stress, so I'm going to up the bar one more time and see if he can find maintaining the pattern at the trot. So still, because it's new for him, I'm going to set us up with me following my track for the first figure. And then I slowly fade to neutral and pass the baton off to him to maintain the pattern on his own. Now, I jokingly say when we add the trot, everything is the same, it just happens twice as fast. So my timing and my tools have to be really clear to hopefully encourage him to hustle through the turn and maintain the trot through that change of direction. Now, this is very normal to end up with a graveyard of cones, and I have two choices. I can either pause and fix the cones, but I might be releasing my horse in an undesirable moment, or I can just have a strong focus and trust that my horse is still smart enough to figure it out. I'd hustle through that turn. That was smart. I'd hustle through that turn. So he's got to be good boy. He's got to be going around going, what do I need to do to get released? And hustling through the turn. Good boy on the pattern is where he's going to find it. Now he's given me two really good ones on the left, and I actually like the way he thought through that last one on the right here. So I'm going to give him a break there. And he didn't do this one perfectly, but what I saw that I really wanted to reinforce is that he thought about breaking gait and then he auto-corrected. And for me, that's better than perfection, to see the horse think their way through it, almost make a poor choice, and then think better of it. Once the figure eight is established online, you have so many options to evolve the pattern into some really fun things. I like to not only test that I can do it at liberty, but also do it with pattern integration. So to see if I can go from a circle into a figure eight and then back to a circle, add transitions. There's so many things you can do to keep it fresh and challenging so that you're fostering connection and not just your horse going on